In today's episode, we dive into the compelling story of Beneath the Surface, the tale of a cheating wife and redemption. Join us as we unravel the intricate journey of Ethan Collins, a man grappling with the scars of a tumultuous past and the complex relationships that shape his present. From heartbreak and betrayal to the pursuit of forgiveness and love, this narrative takes us through emotional highs and lows, offering profound insights into the human spirit's resilience. Stay tuned as we explore the themes of infidelity, redemption, and the quest for true happiness. Ethan Collins stood before the bathroom mirror in his office, scrutinizing the bruises and cuts on his face. His reflection showed a weary man trying to mask his pain behind a stoic expression. The previous night's confrontation had left its mark, both physically and emotionally. Ethan's thoughts were interrupted when the door creaked open, and Hannah, his concerned coworker, stepped inside. "I hope the other guy looks worse," Hannah said, tilting her head to get a better look at Ethan's battered face. Ethan managed a weak smile. "The other guy?" he said softly, not wanting to delve into the details of the altercation. "Can you work?" she asked, her voice laced with concern. "Yeah, but I probably need to avoid seeing clients face to face for a while," Ethan replied, trying to sound reassuring. Hannah nodded, her lips tightening into a thin line. "I assume there's a police report?" she inquired, her tone serious. Ethan nodded again. "Any chance you'll be arrested?" "No, I doubt it. I wasn't really a victim, but I can't imagine anything will come of it," Ethan said, trying to downplay the incident. "All right," she said softly. "We'll do without it. Oh, and Ethan." She paused, as if considering whether to continue. Ethan looked at her, wondering if she was going to lecture him or offer a comforting hug. Hannah always gave the impression of a stern old librarian, but those who knew her realized she cared deeply for others. "Please learn to duck," she said, unable to hold back a smile. The laughter in her eyes gave her away. "So I've been told," Ethan said, grinning despite the pain. Fortunately, Ethan managed to spend the rest of the day working, barring some good-natured teasing from his coworkers, Simon and Oliver. Things quickly returned to normal after a couple of days. However, when Chloe, a close friend and colleague, saw him, her face was a mixture of anger and guilt. She was angry at Ethan for not calling her that night in the and felt guilty when she realized it was Vanessa and her cronies who had attacked him. It took a little time, but Ethan convinced Chloe that it was his fault. "If I hadn't hit him, maybe it wouldn't have happened," he explained. Chloe reminded him repeatedly that they were friends and that friends called each other when they were in trouble. Though Chloe's intention was to make Ethan feel better, every time she emphasized their friendship, it felt like a reminder that that was all they would ever be. After their conversation, Ethan focused on building his personal life. He had finally come to terms with the fact that Chloe had her own personal life and he wasn't going to be a part of it. They would only remain good friends, and he had to learn to live with that. It was hard, but he got through it. Sure, he fantasized about Chloe sometimes, but he started looking for more realistic possibilities. There were several women at the gym who interested Ethan, and he started talking to them more often. He also met women at work who didn't mind going out with him. He began going on occasional dates, and a couple of them ended with him bringing someone back to his apartment. These encounters were exciting but fleeting, leaving him wanting something more substantial. One of the bright spots in Ethan's life was Madison, a woman he met at the gym. They began practicing workouts together, and Ethan found it increasingly difficult not to stare at her. Madison was really trying her best, and it was noticeable. "Thanks, Ethan," Madison said one day after a particularly grueling session. "Oh, Madison," Ethan sighed. "Did I stare again?" She nodded and grinned. "Ethan, I'm sorry," he said, feeling embarrassed. "Ethan, I don't mind," she said, blushing slightly. "It's been a while since I've been stared at like that." Ethan snorted. "I doubt it." "Well," she said, her blush deepening. "Yeah, but that was a long time ago when it was a nice guy doing it, not some creep or horny guy." They both laughed, but for different reasons. Madison laughed because she was complimenting Ethan and was happy with the situation. Ethan laughed because he was trying to hide his annoyance at being labeled a nice guy. For the next 6 weeks, Ethan worked as hard as Madison did. Eventually, he reached his goal of losing 60 pounds, and Madison lost 30 pounds. It didn't look like she would reach her goal of 40 pounds by the time Ethan started, but she was close. Since Ethan had gained weight, he made a date with Chloe. They had a friendly relationship, and the only real difference was that he didn't pant after her like a dog. If she noticed, she never said anything about it. Ethan's life took a turn when he met Zoe, Chloe's 5-year-old daughter, who had just started kindergarten. This milestone allowed Chloe to start taking classes at St. Catherine's School, working towards becoming a physical therapist. When Ethan picked her up one day, he met Zoe at the front door. "Hi, Goldilocks," Ethan said, reaching down to pick her up. "Are you asking your mom out on a date?" "Yeah, that's the plan," Zoe replied. "Can I come with you too?" she asked eagerly. "Not this time, honey," said an older woman behind her. She was a thin, frail woman who looked to be in her mid-60s, wearing huge bifocal glasses and with short gray hair. She looked like a grandmother. "Monica Turner," she said, holding out her hand. Ethan shook it and marveled at how tight her grip was. "Ethan Collins," he replied. "I know," Mrs. Turner smiled. "I've heard all about you from Zoe." "In the men's room, I suppose?" Ethan moaned. Mrs. Turner laughed. "It's amazing what little eyes and ears pick up. By the way, you look very nice today, Mr. Collins," she continued, then reached out and fixed his tie. "Thank you," Ethan said, appreciating the gesture. He had dressed up in a suit and tie to take Chloe to the Blue Lagoon on the square. By losing weight, he was able to wear some of his best clothes from college. When Chloe came out of the bedroom, Ethan almost choked. She was wearing a simple string of pearls with her version of a little black dress, but it was stunning. Ethan had to remind himself that they were only going out as friends before he embarrassed himself by drooling. That's how the whole evening went. Ethan reminding himself that this wasn't a real date. Chloe did nothing to make him think differently, and he gradually relaxed, deciding it was just a normal evening with a beautiful woman. The Blue Lagoon was incredible and expensive, but that was expected. His beautiful date was well worth it. During their entire time at the restaurant, Chloe was only harassed once, and that was when she was returning from the ladies' restroom. It was a completely different story when they decided to go dancing and went to Neon Nights on the square. They didn't even have time to sit down before Chloe was asked to dance. It was the first of several dozen times. Surprisingly, Chloe declined every one of them. Even after Ethan reminded her that they were only here as friends tonight, she reminded him that she had done the same thing when they went out for the 4th of July. Her reasoning was simple. She was with Ethan and wasn't going to make a date with anyone else. The only time Ethan had a hard time that night was when he hugged Chloe tightly as they danced to slow songs. Unfortunately, those slow songs were too short and were played very infrequently during the evening. The evening ended with a kiss on the cheek. "Thank you, Ethan," Chloe said quietly. "It's been a long time since I've been on such a fun date. You were the perfect gentleman." Now another phrase had been added to Ethan's list of annoying labels. In addition to nice and safe, he was now a perfect gentleman. Soon after, Ethan decided that he needed to get serious about finding a woman he could fall in love with and spend the rest of his life with. He mentally chose a few options and vowed to himself to ask them out within the next week. As usual, fate had other ideas. The first disruption to his plans had to do with work. Setting up the network took up all of Ethan's time except for practicing with Chloe and Madison. Second, even though classes at St. Catherine's started 2 weeks early, Madison reached her weight goal. Ethan had the honor of setting up a date with her for the coming Friday night. She asked him to pick her up at her apartment, which she shared with 2 of her friends. When Ethan stopped by to pick up Madison, he was shocked. "Damn, girl," he said, stepping back and ostentatiously looking her over from head to toe. "It's amazing what you can accomplish with makeup, don't you think? I think all that stuff can certainly help, but only if you already have something to start with. And you, Madison, already have something. You're beautiful," Ethan said, his dark brown eyes dancing and his smile dazzling. Madison blushed and smiled. Apparently, this big dumb animal can say the right thing every now and then, Ethan thought to himself. He took her out to eat and was surprised when she suggested Sherman's Wharf, a small seafood joint just off the highway. It was definitely not high-end, but a good place for freshwater fish and shellfish. Ethan expected her to want to go to one of Miami's more upscale establishments like the Blue Lagoon or Maison Rouge. Madison must have seen his surprise and laughed. "Ethan, I plan to dance till I drop tonight. A salad at the wharf will be just fine. Besides, I can barely breathe in this thing, and if I eat anything heavy, it might explode." You say that like it's a bad thing, Ethan said, laughing. Madison giggled but continued to look at him with her sly gaze. This is your night, beautiful. Your wish is my command. Well then, good sir, she said in a haughty voice. Is my carriage waiting? After you, my lady, Ethan said, giving a deep bow. Madison was right. Their citrus salads with greens and grilled shrimp were the perfect start to a night of dancing. Madison had chosen the club scene at Neon Nights, which was fine with Ethan since his past experience at City Lights was still a little fresh in his mind. The evening started off amazingly. Madison looked really good and was attracting the attention of a few guys. When the first one approached to ask her to dance, she surprised Ethan by looking at him and asking for his permission. Of course, he gave it, but afterward, he asked her about it. Madison, thank you for asking me, but remember this is your night. If you want to dance with a guy, I certainly won't stand in your way, Ethan said. She looked at him with disappointment for a moment. Ethan, you are my companion for this evening, and I always leave with the one who brought me. And if I can dance with any guy the first want, you need to get off your ass and get on the dance floor with me. That set the tone for the next couple of hours, with Madison dancing with Ethan most of the time but also occasionally dancing with another guy. All in all, they were having a great time. But as with all good things, there's always a bug that tries to ruin everything. This time, it was a pest from Ethan's past. He didn't notice her until he heard her voice from behind. Oh my god, look at you, snarled the voice. It looks like you finally pushed yourself off the buffet. Ethan turned and saw Vanessa standing there, looking like a star. It was an image she knew how to create with ease. She was accompanied by two men. The first was a tall, well-built blonde man about Ethan's age, dressed in a several $1,000 Italian suit. He looked European and had a snotty, smug expression on his face. The other was a short man of slight build who reminded Ethan of a middle-aged Johnny Depp trying to look like a bookworm. Ethan recognized him as one of the Montgomerys. He had seen him at Neon Nights several times over the past year. The bookworm observed the situation with an indifferent look. Oh dear, Ethan replied in a mocking tone. Looks like the herpes sores have finally healed. Did you finally get rid of all those little things, or did you just accept it as a curse for being a? Screw you, Vanessa grinned. I already told you, never again. And besides, she said in response to Ethan's chuckle, I doubt you've cracked 20. Her fair-haired companion, who had stepped toward Ethan, now looked at him with pure hatred. The bookworm, Montgomery, put a hand on his shoulder and shook his head. Easy, Hans. All I was doing was enjoying my date until I was accosted by that lady. By the way, if you two are going out with her tonight, I'd be sure to check her medical records. I'm sure some of these things are not curable, Ethan said. Ethan saw the large European's face go pale and noticed a small smirk on Montgomery's face. I see you've been moving up in weight classes for dating lately, Vanessa teased, looking at Madison. Ethan saw the resentment in Madison's eyes. He walked over and took her hand. That was enough for her to look away from Vanessa briefly and look into Ethan's eyes. What she saw there made her smile. Ethan turned around and grinned at Vanessa. Vanessa, he laughed, it must hurt to realize that a woman you consider beneath you can, with just a smile, get a guy. You may look good on the outside, but everyone who knows you knows what a rotting vial you are on the inside. Your ex-husband is damned lucky he left you. You, she began to yell, drawing the attention of several other tables. Goddamn, stop it, roared Montgomery in a voice much deeper and stronger than Ethan expected. Jurgen, please take the lady back to our table, Montgomery ordered. Jurgen glared at Ethan but then complied, leading a furious Vanessa away. When they were gone, Montgomery turned to Ethan and Madison. My apologies, he said. I didn't mean to ruin your evening. I didn't understand her plans when she led us to your table. Please allow me to make it up to you. With those words, he disappeared into the crowd. A few minutes later, one of the waitresses escorted Ethan and Madison to the VIP area, where a bottle of champagne was waiting for them. Oh hell yeah, giggled Madison. Now that's more like it. For the next hour, they laughed and danced, forgetting about their run-in with Vanessa. After leaving the club, they decided to take a leisurely stroll around the town square. The January night was warmer than usual, but it was nice to cool off after a few hours of dancing in the club. Despite the mild weather, Madison used it as an excuse to snuggle up to Ethan. At the end of their walk, Ethan put his arm around her and kissed her. She looked at him, and he couldn't figure out what she was thinking. All he could see in her eyes was the faint flicker of the streetlights. However, her voice told him what he wanted to know. "Take me to your apartment," she whispered. They barely made it into Ethan's apartment before they were immediately on the bed. It was over a week before Ethan met up with Chloe again. The network installation at work took the better part of the week and involved long, boring hours of cable work. During one of their training sessions, Ethan sensed that Chloe had something to say. By the end of the session, he couldn't take it anymore. "Okay, Chloe," Ethan gasped, still trying to catch his breath. "Say what you need to say. What did you do to that girl?" Chloe asked calmly. Ethan knew immediately that she was talking about Madison. He had spoken to Madison several times the previous week, first to thank her for a wonderful evening and then to make sure she didn't think of him as a one-night stand. He even asked her out on a date but told her it would have to be after his networking project was complete. Madison seemed to understand and was interested in going on a date with him again. So Chloe's question made him a little uneasy. "Why?" Ethan asked worriedly. "Is she okay?" Chloe snorted. "Better than okay," she said, laughing. "Ethan, she's just floating in the air. What exactly did you do?" "I'm sorry, Chloe, but that's something Madison should tell you about. I'll say I treated her like she deserved to be treated, like the special woman she is." "Well, you certainly made an impression," Chloe said, giving Ethan a wary look. "You realize she'll be yours if you just ask her. She thinks you're walking on water right now." Ethan laughed. "Well, it won't be for long. Soon she'll see that I have feet of clay. I don't see us lasting long term. She's too young for me. She's got her whole life ahead of her, and she doesn't need an old guy with all that baggage dragging her down." "An old guy like you?" Chloe grinned. "Well, old compared to her. I wish I was younger, though, because she's special. She has an incredible amount of beauty in her, just waiting to be let out. Any guy who falls for her and takes the time to find her will be rewarded with a woman who will rock his world." Ethan turned and looked at Chloe as she fell silent. She had a strange look on her face as she gazed at him. "What?" Ethan asked, not understanding. "Nothing," Chloe replied, gathering her things to leave. "You're unusual, Ethan." Ethan didn't know what to say to that. At least she didn't call him nice or safe. Ethan Collins had started feeling more grounded since the network installation project concluded. His professional life was stabilizing, and he began focusing more on his personal relationships. Chloe, now a good friend and confidant, encouraged him to explore new connections and experiences. She was supportive, but Ethan knew she had her own life and responsibilities, particularly her young daughter, Zoe. One Saturday afternoon, Ethan found himself driving to Los Angeles for a charity event at the local hospital. Chloe had invited him to join her and Zoe at the event, emphasizing how much it would mean to the kids. The event aimed to bring smiles and joy to the children battling various illnesses. It was also a chance for Ethan to spend more time with Chloe and Zoe outside of their usual gym and work routines. As he pulled into the hospital parking lot, Ethan noticed a large banner that read, "Sunshine Shelter Charity Event." Balloons and streamers adorned the entrance, and a cheerful atmosphere pervaded the area. Ethan parked his car and walked towards the entrance, where he spotted Chloe and Zoe waiting for him. "Ethan!" Zoe squealed, running towards him with open arms. "Hey, Goldilocks," Ethan said, scooping her up and spinning her around. "Are you ready to have some fun today?" Zoe nodded enthusiastically. "We're going to make so many kids happy." Chloe approached, smiling warmly. "Thanks for coming, Ethan. This means a lot to us." "Wouldn't miss it for the world," Ethan replied, setting Zoe down gently. Inside the hospital, the atmosphere was a mix of anticipation and excitement. Volunteers were busy setting up booths for games, crafts, and face painting. Ethan marveled at the effort put into creating a magical experience for the children. "Let's start with the crafts," Chloe suggested, guiding Ethan and Zoe to a table filled with art supplies. The kids love making things, and it's a great way to break the ice. As they settled at the craft table, Ethan found himself surrounded by children eagerly grabbing markers, glue, and glitter. He helped Zoe and a few other kids create colorful drawings and handmade cards. The smiles and laughter of the children warmed his heart, and he felt a sense of fulfillment he hadn't experienced in a long time. Throughout the afternoon, Ethan and Chloe worked together to entertain the children. They moved from station to station, ensuring every child had a chance to participate in the activities. Ethan even found himself donning a clown hat and performing a few silly tricks, much to the delight of the kids. During a break, Ethan and Chloe took a moment to catch their breath. They found a quiet corner in the hospital garden, away from the bustling activity inside. "You're really good with kids, Ethan," Chloe said, sipping from a water bottle. "They adore you." Ethan shrugged modestly. "I just want to make them happy. They deserve a little joy, especially in a place like this." Chloe nodded in agreement. It's amazing how something as simple as a smile or a kind word can make such a big difference. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, enjoying the serene garden. Ethan felt a sense of peace being around Chloe and Zoe. It was a stark contrast to the chaos and heartbreak he had endured in the past. "Chloe, I've been thinking a lot lately," Ethan began, breaking the silence. "About my life, my relationships. I want to be more than just a friend to you and Zoe. I want to be someone you can count on, someone who's there for you both." Chloe looked at him, her eyes reflecting a mix of emotions. "Ethan, you already are. You've been a wonderful friend, and Zoe adores you. But I need you to understand that my priority is her. Everything I do is for her." "I know," Ethan said, reaching out to gently squeeze her hand. "And that's one of the things I admire most about you. You're an incredible mom. I just want to be a part of your lives, in any way you'll have me." Chloe smiled, her eyes softening. "We'll see where this goes, Ethan. For now, let's just enjoy the moment and keep making these kids smile." As the day drew to a close, Ethan felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The charity event had been a success, and he had spent meaningful time with Chloe and Zoe. He realized that building a relationship with Chloe would take time and patience, but he was willing to put in the effort. Ethan's newfound focus on his personal life led him to the gym more frequently. He enjoyed the camaraderie and the physical challenge, but he also looked forward to seeing Madison. Their bond had grown stronger since their first date, and Ethan found himself drawn to her positivity and determination. One morning, as Ethan was finishing his workout, Madison approached him with a smile. "Hey, Ethan, up for a run this weekend?" Ethan nodded eagerly. "Absolutely. Where do you want to go?" "There's a great trail along the beach," Madison suggested. "It's beautiful this time of year, and we can grab a smoothie afterward." "Sounds perfect," Ethan replied, feeling a surge of excitement. Saturday morning, Ethan met Madison at the trailhead. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting a golden glow over the ocean. They started their run, the sound of waves crashing against the shore providing a soothing backdrop. As they ran, they chatted about their lives, their goals, and their dreams. Madison shared stories about her family and her aspirations for the future. Ethan opened up about his past, his struggles, and his hopes for a better tomorrow. After the run, they settled at a nearby smoothie bar. Ethan ordered a tropical blend, while Madison opted for a green detox smoothie. "So, Ethan," Madison said, taking a sip of her drink. "What's your next big adventure?" Ethan chuckled. "Honestly, I'm not sure. I've been focusing on getting my life back on track, but I'm open to new possibilities." "What about you?" Madison's eyes sparkled. "I've been thinking about taking a trip to Europe. I've always wanted to explore different cultures and see the world." "That sounds amazing," Ethan said. "Where in Europe do you want to go first?" "Paris, definitely," Madison replied with a dreamy expression. "The city of love, art, and history. It's been on my bucket list for years." Ethan smiled. "Paris is incredible. You'll love it." As they continued to talk, Ethan felt a growing connection with Madison. She was ambitious, adventurous, and full of life. He admired her zest for new experiences and found himself inspired by her enthusiasm. Ethan had planned a special evening for Chloe. He wanted to show her how much she meant to him and how serious he was about being a part of her life. He made reservations at the Blue Lagoon, a renowned restaurant known for its elegant ambiance and exquisite cuisine. Dressed in his best suit, Ethan arrived at Chloe's house to pick her up. Zoe was at her grandmother's for the night, giving Ethan and Chloe some much-needed alone time. When Chloe emerged from her room, Ethan was taken aback by her beauty. She wore a simple yet elegant black dress, her hair cascading in loose waves around her shoulders. She looked stunning, and Ethan felt a surge of pride to have her by his side. "You look amazing," Ethan said, unable to hide his admiration. "Thank you," Chloe replied, her cheeks tinged with a blush. You clean up pretty well yourself." They arrived at the Blue Lagoon and were escorted to a cozy corner table with a view of the water. The soft glow of candlelight created a romantic atmosphere, and Ethan felt a sense of anticipation for the evening ahead. Over dinner, they talked about their hopes and dreams, sharing stories and laughter. Ethan found himself captivated by Chloe's intelligence, kindness, and strength. She was everything he had been searching for, and he knew he wanted to be with her. As dessert arrived, Ethan decided it was time to express his feelings. He reached across the table and took Chloe's hand. "Chloe, I know we've been through a lot, and I respect your need to prioritize Zoe. But I want you to know that I'm committed to being a part of your lives. You and Zoe mean the world to me, and I want to build a future together." Chloe looked into his eyes, her expression softening. "Ethan, you've been a wonderful friend, and Zoe adores you. I can see how much you care about us, and that means a lot. Let's take this one step at a time and see where it leads." Ethan smiled, feeling a sense of relief and hope. "That's all I can ask for." After dinner, they decided to take a walk along the waterfront. The night was cool and crisp, and the city lights reflected off the water, creating a magical scene. As they strolled hand in hand, Ethan felt a deep sense of contentment. He knew the journey ahead wouldn't be easy, but he was ready to face whatever challenges came their way. For the first time in a long time, he felt hopeful about the future. Ethan Collins had been looking forward to a night out with Madison for weeks. They decided to visit Crystal Lounge, a trendy bar in Chicago known for its vibrant atmosphere and excellent cocktails. It was a perfect place to unwind after a long week and enjoy each other's company. Ethan arrived early, securing a good spot at the bar. He ordered a drink and waited for Madison, who was finishing up at work. As the evening progressed, the bar filled with people, and the energy in the room was palpable. Ethan glanced around, appreciating the lively ambiance. Madison arrived a little later, her face lighting up as she spotted Ethan. She made her way through the crowd and greeted him with a warm hug. "Sorry I'm late, work was crazy today," she said, taking a seat next to him. "No worries, I'm just glad you made it," Ethan replied, handing her a drink menu. "What are you in the mood for?" Madison scanned the menu, eventually settling on a mojito. They clinked glasses and toasted to a fun night ahead. As they chatted and laughed, Ethan felt a deepening connection with Madison. She was easy to talk to, and their conversations flowed effortlessly. However, the evening took an unexpected turn when Ethan noticed a familiar face in the crowd. Vanessa, his ex-girlfriend, entered the bar with her entourage. She was dressed to impress, her eyes scanning the room as if she owned the place. Ethan's stomach tightened at the sight of her. He hoped she wouldn't notice him, but fate had other plans. Vanessa's eyes locked onto Ethan's, and a sly smile spread across her face. She sauntered over, her confidence unwavering. "Ethan, what a surprise," she purred, her gaze flicking to Madison. "And who's this lovely lady?" Ethan's grip tightened on his glass, but he managed a polite smile. "Vanessa, this is Madison." "Madison, this is Vanessa, an old acquaintance." "Acquaintance, huh?" Vanessa's smile widened. "We go way back, don't we, Ethan?" Madison sensed the tension and placed a reassuring hand on Ethan's arm. "Nice to meet you, Vanessa." Vanessa's eyes narrowed slightly, but she maintained her facade of friendliness. "Likewise. Well, don't let me interrupt your evening. Enjoy your drinks." With that, she turned and glided back to her friends, leaving a trail of tension in her wake. Ethan let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. "I'm sorry about that. Vanessa can be intense." Madison squeezed his arm. "It's okay, Ethan. You don't have to explain. Let's just enjoy our night." They tried to shake off the encounter, but the mood had shifted. Ethan found it hard to focus on their conversation, his mind drifting back to Vanessa and their tumultuous past. He didn't want Vanessa's presence to ruin their evening, but it was clear that her reappearance had stirred up old emotions. Later, as they danced to the lively beats filling the room, Ethan noticed Vanessa watching them from across the bar. She seemed to be enjoying his discomfort, and it irritated him. Madison, ever perceptive, noticed his distraction and stopped dancing. "Ethan, is everything okay?" she asked, concern etched on her face. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I'm sorry, Madison. Vanessa has a way of getting under my skin. I thought I was over it, but seeing her tonight, it's bringing back a lot of memories." Madison nodded, understanding. "Do you want to leave?" We can go somewhere else, away from all this. Ethan shook his head. No, we don't have to leave. I don't want her to think she's still affecting me. Let's just enjoy the night and forget about her. Madison smiled. Sounds like a plan. Despite their efforts, the evening was tinged with a hint of unease. Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that Vanessa's presence had cast a shadow over what should have been a perfect night. He resolved to talk to Madison about it later, but for now, he focused on making the best of their time together. A month had passed since the encounter with Vanessa at the bar, and Ethan had done his best to move past it. However, the unresolved tension lingered in the back of his mind. He knew he needed to confront his past and find closure. Ethan's opportunity came when he learned that Megan, his ex-wife, would be in Boston for a conference. They hadn't spoken much since their divorce, but Ethan felt it was time to address the lingering issues between them. He reached out to Megan, suggesting they meet for coffee. She agreed, and they arranged to meet at a small cafe in downtown Boston. As Ethan walked into the cafe, he spotted Megan sitting by the window, looking out at the bustling street. Megan looked up and smiled when she saw him. Ethan, it's good to see you. Ethan returned the smile, though it felt a bit forced. You too, Megan. Thanks for meeting with me. They ordered their drinks and settled into an awkward silence. Ethan took a deep breath, knowing he needed to be honest. Megan, I wanted to talk to you about our past. I've been carrying a lot of unresolved feelings, and I think it's time we address them. Megan nodded, her expression serious. I understand. I've been thinking about our relationship too. We both made mistakes, Ethan. Ethan sighed, feeling a mix of relief and regret. I know. I was hurt and angry for a long time, but I realize now that holding onto that anger isn't helping either of us. Megan reached out and placed her hand on Ethan's. I'm sorry for everything, Ethan. I never meant to hurt you the way I did. I was young and confused, and I didn't handle things well. Ethan appreciated her honesty. I'm sorry too, Megan. I wasn't perfect either. I just want to move on and find peace. They spent the next hour talking about their past, their mistakes, and the lessons they had learned. It was a difficult conversation, but it was also cathartic. Ethan felt a weight lift off his shoulders as they reached a mutual understanding. As they parted ways, Megan gave Ethan a hug. Take care of yourself, Ethan. I hope you find happiness. You too, Megan, Ethan replied, feeling a sense of closure he hadn't expected. Ethan had decided to take a break from the complexities of his personal life and focus on enjoying the summer. He and Madison planned a weekend trip to Houston to attend a soccer game and explore the city. It was a much-needed escape, and Ethan was looking forward to the adventure. They arrived in Houston on a sunny Saturday morning, the excitement palpable. The city was buzzing with energy, and the anticipation of the game added to the thrill. Ethan and Madison checked into their hotel, eager to start their day. The soccer game was a highlight of the trip. Ethan and Madison cheered for their favorite team, the Houston Crusaders, and enjoyed the lively atmosphere in the stadium. It was a welcome distraction from the challenges they had faced in recent months. After the game, they explored the city, visiting local attractions and savoring the diverse cuisine Houston had to offer. They laughed, took photos, and created memories that would last a lifetime. That evening, as they walked back to their hotel, Ethan felt a renewed sense of joy. Madison had a way of bringing out the best in him, and he appreciated her unwavering support. Today was amazing, Madison said, linking her arm with Ethan's. I needed this break. Me too, Ethan replied, squeezing her hand. It feels good to just enjoy the moment and not worry about anything else. As they strolled through the city, Ethan realized that happiness wasn't about avoiding challenges but about finding moments of joy amidst them. With Madison by his side, he felt ready to face whatever the future held. Ethan's relationship with Chloe and Zoe had grown stronger over the past few months. He spent more time with them, becoming an integral part of their lives. Chloe appreciated his presence and the positive influence he had on Zoe. One evening, Chloe invited Ethan over for dinner. It was a casual get-together, but Ethan felt a sense of warmth and belonging as he stepped into their home. The aroma of home-cooked food filled the air, and Zoe greeted him with a big smile. Hi, Ethan, come play with me, Zoe said, pulling him towards her room. Ethan laughed. Okay, but just for a bit. We have to eat dinner too, you know. They played with Zoe's toys, her laughter filling the room. Ethan cherished these moments, feeling a deep bond with the little girl. After a while, Chloe called them to the dinner table. They enjoyed a delicious meal together, sharing stories and laughter. Chloe seemed more relaxed and happy, and Ethan felt grateful to be part of this small, loving family. After dinner, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset, Chloe turned to Ethan. "Ethan, I've been thinking a lot about us. You've become such an important part of our lives, and I can't imagine doing this without you." Ethan's heart swelled with emotion. "Chloe, I feel the same way. You and Zoe mean everything to me. I want to be here for you both, no matter what." Chloe smiled, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Thank you, Ethan. Let's take things one day at a time and see where this journey leads us." Ethan nodded, feeling a sense of contentment. He knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but with Chloe and Zoe by his side, he felt ready to face any challenge. Ethan, Chloe, and Zoe traveled to San Diego for a charity event at the Sunshine Shelter. It was another opportunity for them to give back to the community and make a positive impact on the lives of those in need. The shelter was a beacon of hope for many families, providing food, clothing, and support to those struggling to make ends meet. Ethan felt a deep sense of purpose as he volunteered alongside Chloe and Zoe, helping distribute supplies and interact with the shelter's residents. Zoe was a natural at making people smile. Her innocent charm and genuine kindness touched the hearts of everyone she met. Ethan watched with pride as she handed out toys to the children, her face glowing with joy. Chloe worked tirelessly, coordinating efforts and ensuring everything ran smoothly. Ethan admired her dedication and compassion. She was a true leader, inspiring others to give their best. As the day came to a close, Ethan reflected on the experience. It had been a humbling and rewarding day, reminding him of the importance of helping others. He felt grateful to be part of a team that made a difference. That evening, as they relaxed at their hotel, Chloe turned to Ethan. "Today was amazing. Seeing the smiles on those kids' faces made all the hard work worth it." Ethan nodded. "It's incredible how much good we can do when we come together. I'm proud of us." Chloe smiled, leaning her head on Ethan's shoulder. "Me too." As they sat in comfortable silence, Ethan realized that giving back to the community was not only fulfilling but also brought them closer together. It strengthened their bond and reminded them of the good they could achieve. The annual Christmas ball was a highlight of the social calendar in San Francisco. It was an event that brought together the city's elite for an evening of elegance and celebration. Ethan had been looking forward to attending with Chloe, wanting to share a special night with her. He rented a tuxedo and arranged for a limousine to pick them up. When he arrived at Chloe's house, he was greeted by Mrs. Turner, who was watching Zoe for the evening. "Ethan, you look very dapper," Mrs. Turner said, smiling. "Thank you, Mrs. Turner. You look lovely as always," Ethan replied. Zoe ran up to him, her eyes wide with excitement. "Ethan, you're taking mommy to a ball." "That's right, Goldilocks," Ethan said, kneeling down to her level. "And I promise to take good care of her." Chloe emerged from her room, looking breathtaking in a shimmering blue gown. Ethan's heart skipped a beat as he took in her beauty. "You look stunning," Ethan said, his voice filled with admiration. "Thank you, Ethan," Chloe replied, her eyes sparkling. They arrived at the Grand Plaza, the venue for the Christmas ball. The hotel was beautifully decorated, and the atmosphere was filled with festive cheer. As they entered the ballroom, heads turned to admire the striking couple. Ethan felt a sense of pride and happiness as he escorted Chloe to their table. They mingled with other guests, enjoying the evening's festivities. Ethan introduced Chloe to his colleagues and friends, proud to have her by his side. During a break in the dancing, a man approached their table. Ethan recognized him as Lucas Martin, a prominent lawyer in the city and Chloe's ex-boyfriend. "Chloe, it's been a long time," Lucas said, smiling warmly. "Lucas, it's good to see you," Chloe replied, though Ethan could sense a hint of tension in her voice. Lucas turned to Ethan, extending his hand. "You must be Ethan. I've heard a lot about you." Ethan shook his hand, maintaining a polite demeanor. "Likewise, Lucas. Chloe has mentioned you." As the evening progressed, Ethan noticed Lucas trying to engage Chloe in conversation. He couldn't help but feel a pang of jealousy. However, he trusted Chloe and knew she was committed to their relationship. Later, as they danced to a slow song, Ethan held Chloe close. "Are you okay?" he asked, sensing her unease. "I'm fine, Ethan. It's just, seeing Lucas brought back a lot of memories. But I'm here with you, and that's all that matters." Ethan smiled, reassured by her words. I'm glad to hear that. The night ended with a kiss on the cheek and a promise of many more special moments to come. Ethan knew that their relationship was strong, and he was willing to face any challenges that came their way. The encounter with Lucas at the Christmas ball had stirred up emotions for both Ethan and Chloe. They decided it was time to have an honest conversation about their relationship and their future. One evening, after putting Zoe to bed, they sat down on the porch with a glass of wine. The cool night air was refreshing, and the stars twinkled above them. Chloe, I think we need to talk about what happened at the ball, Ethan began, his voice calm but serious. Chloe nodded, her expression thoughtful. I agree. Seeing Lucas brought back a lot of memories, and it made me realize that I need to be honest with you. Ethan took her hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. You can tell me anything, Chloe. I'm here for you. Chloe took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. Lucas and I had a complicated relationship. We were together for a long time, and he was a big part of my life. But things didn't work out, and I've moved on. I'm with you now, Ethan, and I'm committed to us. Ethan felt a wave of relief wash over him. I trust you, Chloe. I just needed to hear that from you. Chloe leaned in, her eyes filled with sincerity. Ethan, you mean so much to me. You've been there for me and Zoe in ways I can't even describe. I want to build a future with you. Ethan's heart swelled with emotion. I want that too, Chloe. I love you. Tears welled up in Chloe's eyes as she smiled. I love you too, Ethan. They embraced, their hearts full of hope and promise. They knew that their journey wouldn't be easy, but they were ready to face it together, hand in hand. Ethan had finally found the courage to confront his past and seek closure with Megan. He felt it was necessary to fully move forward with his life and his relationship with Chloe. He reached out to Megan, suggesting they meet for lunch. She agreed, and they arranged to meet at a quaint cafe in downtown Denver. As Ethan walked into the cafe, he spotted Megan sitting at a corner table, looking out the window. Megan looked up and smiled when she saw him. Ethan, it's good to see you. Ethan returned the smile, though it felt a bit strained. You too, Megan. Thanks for meeting with me. They ordered their meals and settled into an awkward silence. Ethan took a deep breath, knowing he needed to be honest. Megan, I wanted to talk to you about our past. I've been carrying a lot of unresolved feelings, and I think it's time we address them. Megan nodded, her expression serious. I understand. I've been thinking about our relationship too. We both made mistakes, Ethan. Ethan sighed, feeling a mix of relief and regret. I know. I was hurt and angry for a long time, but I realize now that holding on to that anger isn't helping either of us. Megan reached out and placed her hand on Ethan's. I'm sorry for everything, Ethan. I never meant to hurt you the way I did. I was young and confused, and I didn't handle things well. Ethan appreciated her honesty. I'm sorry too, Megan. I wasn't perfect either. I just want to move on and find peace. They spent the next hour talking about their past, their mistakes, and the lessons they had learned. It was a difficult conversation, but it was also cathartic. Ethan felt a weight lift off his shoulders as they reached a mutual understanding. As they parted ways, Megan gave Ethan a hug. Take care of yourself, Ethan. I hope you find happiness. You too, Megan, Ethan replied, feeling a sense of closure he hadn't expected. The holiday season brought a sense of warmth and joy to Ethan's life. He had planned a special Christmas celebration with Chloe and Zoe, and they were excited to spend the holidays together. They traveled to Dallas to visit Chloe's family and participate in a charity event at Mercy General Hospital. The event was focused on bringing holiday cheer to the children in the pediatric ward, and Ethan was eager to contribute. Ethan dressed up as Santa Claus, much to Zoe's delight. She giggled and called him Santa Bear, a nickname that quickly caught on with the other kids. Ethan's heart swelled with joy as he saw the smiles on their faces. Chloe worked tirelessly, coordinating the event and ensuring everything ran smoothly. Ethan admired her dedication and compassion. She was a true leader, inspiring others to give their best. As they handed out gifts and spread holiday cheer, Ethan felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The experience reminded him of the importance of giving back and the joy that came from helping others. That evening, as they gathered around the Christmas tree, Chloe turned to Ethan. Today was incredible. Seeing the smiles on those kids' faces made all the hard work worth it. Ethan nodded. It's amazing how much good we can do when we come together. I'm proud of us. Chloe smiled, leaning her head on Ethan's shoulder. Me too. As they sat in comfortable silence, Ethan realized that giving back to the community was not only fulfilling but also brought them closer together. It strengthened their bond and reminded them of the good they could achieve. Ethan had decided to take his relationship with Chloe to the next level. He wanted to show her how much she meant to him and make a lasting commitment. They planned a trip to Phoenix to attend a charity gala and spend some quality time together. The gala was a glamorous event, held at the prestigious Neon Nights. Ethan and Chloe arrived dressed to impress, turning heads as they entered the venue. The evening was filled with elegance and celebration, and Ethan felt a sense of pride to have Chloe by his side. During a break in the festivities, Ethan took Chloe aside to a quiet corner. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Chloe, these past months have been incredible. You and Zoe have brought so much joy and love into my life. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me? Tears welled up in Chloe's eyes as she looked at the beautiful engagement ring. Yes, Ethan, I will. Ethan slipped the ring onto her finger, and they embraced, their hearts full of love and promise. The moment was magical, and they knew their future together was bright. Ethan and Chloe's engagement brought a renewed sense of excitement and anticipation to their lives. They began planning their future together, discussing their dreams and aspirations. One of their goals was to find a home where they could build a life together. They traveled to Portland to explore potential neighborhoods and houses. The city's vibrant culture and beautiful scenery made it an attractive choice for their new beginning. As they toured different homes, Ethan and Chloe envisioned the life they wanted to create. They talked about their plans for a family, their careers, and the memories they wanted to make. After a long day of house hunting, they found a charming house in a quiet neighborhood. It had a spacious backyard, perfect for Zoe to play in, and a cozy atmosphere that felt like home. This is it, Chloe said, her eyes filled with excitement. I can see us living here. Ethan smiled, feeling the same sense of certainty. Me too. Let's make it ours. They made an offer on the house, and it was accepted. With their new home secured, Ethan and Chloe felt a sense of accomplishment and joy. They were ready to embark on this new chapter together, building a future filled with love and happiness. To celebrate their engagement and new home, Ethan and Chloe planned a special day in Tampa. They decided to visit Oceanside Grill, a renowned restaurant known for its exquisite seafood and stunning ocean views. Dressed elegantly, they arrived at the restaurant, excited to enjoy a memorable meal. The ambiance was perfect, with the sound of waves crashing against the shore and the scent of saltwater in the air. As they savored the delicious food, Ethan and Chloe reflected on their journey together. They talked about their dreams, their love for each other, and their plans for the future. Today is perfect, Chloe said, smiling at Ethan. I'm so grateful for everything we have. Ethan took her hand, his heart full of love. Me too, Chloe. I can't wait to see what the future holds for us. They toasted to their love, their future, and the beautiful life they were building together. The day was a celebration of their commitment and the endless possibilities that lay ahead. Ethan, Chloe, and Zoe traveled to Philadelphia for another charity event at the Community Medical Center. It was a special occasion, as it marked the culmination of their efforts to give back to the community and make a positive impact on the lives of others. The event was filled with joy and gratitude, as the families and children expressed their appreciation for the support and kindness they had received. Ethan felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing they had made a difference. As they handed out gifts and interacted with the children, Ethan, Chloe, and Zoe were reminded of the importance of compassion and generosity. The experience brought them closer together and reinforced their commitment to making the world a better place. That evening, as they sat in their hotel room, Chloe turned to Ethan. Today was incredible. Seeing the smiles on those kids' faces made all the hard work worth it. Ethan nodded. It's amazing how much good we can do when we come together. I'm proud of us. Chloe smiled, leaning her head on Ethan's shoulder. Me too. As they sat in comfortable silence, Ethan realized that their journey had been filled with challenges, but it had also been rich with love, joy, and growth. They had built a life together, one filled with purpose and happiness. Ethan looked at Chloe and Zoe, feeling a profound sense of gratitude. He knew that their future was bright, and he was ready to face it with the people he loved by his side. The end of one chapter marked the beginning of another, and Ethan couldn't wait to see what adventures awaited them. With Chloe and Zoe, he had found his happily ever after. If you've enjoyed the deep and emotional journey of Beneath the Surface, the tale of a cheating wife and redemption, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more gripping stories. Ethan Collins' path from heartbreak to healing reminds us all of the power of resilience and the importance of forgiveness. As we close this chapter, reflect on the lessons learned and consider how they resonate in your own life. Thank you for joining us on this captivating journey. Until next time, keep exploring the depths of human experience and the transformative power of love and redemption.